This little video is about putting the engine back in. It's not a full description of the process because you can follow the instructions to take the engine out in reverse order. There are a few little hints and tips, however, which I've got outlined in this video, and they will help you to overcome some of the little pitfalls that you might come across. And if you need to go back and look at the video that you used when you took the engine out, then just put Morgan Three-Wheeler Workshop in the search engine at the top of the page here, and it'll give you a list of all my videos, and you'll be able to find the engine removal instructions. Okay, good luck. Okay, so we're ready to put the engine back in. One or two things to note. Put these oil pipes over there out of the way. You can wrestle them back into place later. Secure the starter motor feed cable up here so that can't get lost. Here is the feed wire to the starter solenoid. Keep that up here as well. I don't know if you can see, but down there is the earth wire that goes on the top starter motor bolt. On this vehicle that's fairly easy, it stays in place. If yours is hanging loose somewhere, tie it up so it doesn't get pushed back. Make sure there's nothing else in the way. It doesn't hurt to just smear a bit of fresh grease around there because it's going into that pilot bearing, which we've already put fresh grease in, I know, but a little bit more won't do any harm. And now we should be ready just to make sure all these things are able to be pushed up out of the way and bring the engine in with the crane and try and line it up. As the engine starts to go in, just twist it slightly anti-clockwise from above, so the bell housing over towards your left, to make sure that that white plastic guard or insulator that goes over the feed wire for the starter motor doesn't get trapped and broken against that chassis tube. You can see I've already got it just behind the tube, so I'm ready to go further in. When you bring this cantankerous little thing in from underneath, start at that angle, just hold it like that, put it in, get it in between the lugs where the bolts go through. Just pop a couple of bolts in and then move to the other side. But you've got to have the engine high enough to do that. Be careful, keep an eye on the area underneath the oil tank so you don't squash anything with the top of the gearbox. The jack is now out from under the gearbox. There are two bolts in the bell housing, one top, one bottom, good and tight, but finger tight, but tightened right up, just to hold the thing in alignment while we get these in. Once these are in, we can then drop the weight off the crane, and then we can go around bolting everything else up. Get these in position first. With all the bolts in loosely, that includes the 6 that go into the bell housing at the back, the 4 vertical ones, 2 on each side, and the 4 through the rubber mountings. Tighten first the vertical ones, 4 of them. Then tighten the ones into the bell housing. Make sure they're fully tight. And lastly, tighten these. The reason we leave these till last, and it's important, is that as we tighten the others down, the engine will bed down into place as the nuts and bolts all tighten up. And we want that bedding down to take place while the middle steel ring in that rubber mounting can still turn on the bolt to allow it to settle. We don't want that bedding down to be taken up and put preload in the rubber. And there we go. Now we can start putting all the other little bits and pieces back in. Getting this bottom spacer for the comfort kit in can cause problems because these two top and bottom arms tend to spring together. So lift this bolt up so that you've got enough room to get the spacer in, and then pull up on the track rod end really hard, and then in she goes. You just have to spring those two arms apart a little bit to get it in, otherwise you can struggle for ages.